Audio Jungle. Audio Jungle.
What are some other ways that we could save money? You know, because I used to just throw it in a shoebox, you know, and it worked for me, but you know, I had to learn other things. What are some other ways that we could start saving money and investing our money?
Justin, excellent question. I am not an expert in investing, but I do want to notice something that Joe and Russell mentioned. Thank you so much for your wisdom. It's so great to have you here. For our youth, again, saving is important, but also I would caution you, try to read up on the facts about these different accounts that you're going to try to open: money market versus CD versus saving account. Because with CD, a lot of time they would have you in a locked term, and if you take it out, they will have a penalty for you. So make sure you have enough money that is liquid, which means you can withdraw anytime for emergency, for what have you, before you put money in somewhere where you cannot take it out. That's just what I want to mention. I'm a big CD proponent, but also something that I also want to mention that our financial expert have not mentioned is, especially for Shamar, if you make a lot of money, that's awesome. Always save at least 6 months of your living expenses before you spend it, because that's what the experts are telling us. You know, you need to have at least 6 months of whether rent, food, tuition, whatever you need in order to not fall into hard time and then result on credit card, which I hope our financial expert will explore with me today, because I am fired up about credit card.
Right. Or you can add to that. You can add a whole year of savings in there, because you never know when a pandemic is going to hit for a whole entire year. You never know. But 6 months at least. Great point. Devontae, Richard, what else, man? How are you guys saving your money now? What's your relationship with money, and how literate are we on your side of things?
Well, I kind of want to say, so I know I can speak for myself and probably most of us, but when we went through, school, we're not really taught about money, right?
Yeah.
The school system is kind of set up for us to be workers. You know what I'm saying? It's not really, there's not that many entrepreneur courses. There's not credit courses. There's not financial literacy courses as we go through the whole school, right? So I think it comes down upon, okay, what about your parenting, right? How are you growing up in your environment? Are you being taught these things? Is somebody instilling these type of resources in you? And we know that pretty much like the average Black person has a greater chance of being incarcerated and being financially ignorant to when it comes to money, opposed to a person of non-color, only because wealth, we go through school and we kind of get wealth and income like mixed up, right? And wealth and income is not the same. Income is like, wealth is accumulated over time, right? And income is it's like passive, you know what I'm saying? So I think when you think about, okay, you come from an environment that's kind of teaching you, if you're not going to school and you're not learning it at an institution, are you coming from an environment that's teaching you or helping you with money as you grow? And one of the things that I try to focus on is teaching people about, you can also have a social return on your investment, right? It doesn't always have to be monetary. So when when I'm talking to you,
what do you mean by that? What do you mean by that a little bit, Devontae? For those of us who don't know, what do you mean by that? The social
return on your investment. So if you are out here, let's say you're working or whatever it is that you do, right? You putting in work, and you're thinking about, even if you start investing, you automatically thinking about doubling or tripling, just making as much money as you can.
Right.
But sometimes the education that you get in and the education that you can give other people is just as great as that monetary value that you can get. So the social return is more so about not really focusing on the monetary gain and kind of focusing on the professional development and how you're impacting someone else. You know what I'm saying? So that's one thing that I kind of try to tell youth. You know what I'm saying? Me myself being an entrepreneur, I quit my job, you know what I'm saying, like a few months ago. And I was scared, you know what I'm saying, because I didn't know. I have 2 kids also, you know what I'm saying, I got to provide for them too. So I'm like, but I know if I stay in a job, right, it's not really, am I really going to have financial freedom? So I don't want to take up too much time, but pretty much education has a lot to do with it. And also wealth, when you talking about wealth and income, you can't get them, you can't think they're the same. And your parents and where you come from, your genealogical structure, it has a big determining factor of how you're going to be throughout life financially. So that, I just want to say,
the goal is generational wealth, right? Generational wealth. How do we come from low socioeconomic status to generational wealth? From our advisors here, you know, what's some advice that you have, someone coming from low socioeconomic status trying to establish some generational wealth for their family and generations beyond?
Well, Shamar, he's an example. The young man is working away. You know, like I said, I was the guy who babysat. I was the guy who mowed lawns. Happened to live in the suburbs, so I mowed lawns. I was the guy who shoveled driveways. I was the guy who had a paper route, kept buying paper routes and then selling paper routes. So, and I put my money in the bank. And I remember back then I'd buy the clothes I'd want. I'd put them on layaway, and I'd ride my bike every week to Marshall's and pay $1, $2, $10, $5, whatever I had on the stuff I had. So when I picked it up, it was mine. So my didn't come from money, and my father was a spender. He run up credit card bills into the fact where I actually had, when I sold his house, I had to pay off lots of debt. And he made a lot of equity in his home, but we had to pay off the debt before we got out of the house. So the main thing is, I also coach Dave Ramsey, and I don't want to make it a Dave Ramsey promotion, but that's a really good program for people starting out to get an understanding of what to do with your money. I don't work for Wells Fargo and or Schools Credit Union. I work at a advisory firm, but Schools and Wells Fargo, if you go sit down with the people at the desk there, those kind of banks like that, they'll help you. I mean, they give a lot of advice, right, at their what do you guys call advisors at the desk, the people who introduce you to banking accounts? They give you a lot of advice. Yeah.
So if we have any questions, go into our local bank, you know, hopefully at Wells Fargo, we could talk to Mr. Frank and ask him for some advice. Awesome.
Credit unions are incredible.
Joe,
you're good.
You're
sorry
good.
about that. Zoom or StreamYard etiquette. One thing I want to say, and I want to commend, I think Devontae talked about it, is I want to encourage everyone here to continue. You know, a lot of times we tend to think of, you know, we go to high school or college or whatever, and most people will literally just turn their learning off. I want people to have just a lifetime of learning. So keep your learning turned on, whether you're learning about social media or, and I'm not promoting Bitcoin or crypto or investments or whatever it is you're approaching. look to continue to learn it. And the example I gave to Justin Martinez earlier today is, imagine if you go to Greece and there's no GPS and you want to find your way or move around the city effectively. There's no maps or GPS. You'd have to learn and understand those streets, and you can move around those streets very efficiently. Well, financial and wealth management is in a lot of ways the same way. Someone who understand, like if someone came to Oakland or Orinda, I could sort of take him from Fenton's Ice Creamery to the gas station to wherever, because I understand the lay of the land. Right. So I would encourage everyone here. Some of that learning is at your fingertip with social media and Google and everything else. Okay. But keep your learning turned on, number one. The second lesson, and you know, Russell dropped Dave Ramsey. I'll drop a little Tony Robbins, and it kind of has nothing to do with money, but then it kind of does. Is the past does not equal the future. I grew up poor in East San Jose. I knew a pink lunch ticket from a blue lunch ticket. I don't remember exactly. One of them was a reduced ticket. One of them was a fully subsidized ticket. Right. And what that meant is that your parents either made very little money or even less, particularly if you got a full. But you know, my kids today will not know what that looks like. My daughter alone, her tuition at St. Mary's is $51,000 a year. I write that check. There's no student loans. And then I've got a son at Cal State. He's paying another son. So they're living a different life from how I lived. Right. But I want to challenge everyone on this call to be that person that will generationally flip the script. So regardless of what came before you, you will be the generational turner starting today. Meaning your kids, Joe Jr., will live better than Joe Sr., who's myself, right? I made that personal commitment to myself that I will flip the script and I will be the change turner. I will be the change maker in my life and my financial future, not only for me and my wife, but also for my family, my children and my children's children.
Awesome. Incredible. Thank you, Mr. Frank. I believe I will be that too, and I hope everyone here feels the same way. Patrick, Mom, take us away.
Joe and Russell, thank you so much for sharing. You guys are such.
And if I may, Justin, if I can do that.
Yes, please.
We lost them.
Patrick, go ahead, man. Take us in.
Joe and Russell, thank you so much for sharing. You are my inspiration. And Joe, if you want to adopt, I got student loan, man. I love this conversation about financial literacy again, because I was just like Joe. You know, I came to the United States in 2007. I was an immigrant. I still, you know, I'm now a citizen, but I was an immigrant. I was homeless at one point. And I am sitting in my first home that I purchased completely by myself without any support from anyone. So how do I do that? I want to share my secrets. A lot of our youth are in school or, you know, planning to go to school or college, whatever. There are free money on the table and nobody is collecting them. Where's the money, Patrick? If you're in high school, you can go to your guidance counselor. They literally have a binder full of scholarship that you can apply for. Do you have to be a 4.0 GPA student? Absolutely not. They have scholarship for being tall. You 6'5", you get a scholarship. You know, you speak 3 languages, you get a scholarship. You like to write poems, you get a scholarship. It's like Oprah for all. So there are free money on the table. And then for those who are going to community college or university, there is FAFSA, financial aid assistance for students. A lot of brown boys and men, we don't have that parental support, right? Like Joe probably went to school all by himself, right? So I wish someone told me what I needed to do. I had to learn all of this myself. So I'm telling you now, FAFSA is available to you. It's free, especially if your family is low income. Like Justin was mentioning, if we from low socioeconomic status, how can we get out of it? Education is one, but also financial aid is important. There's Cal Grant that you can apply when you're in high school. You will transfer to your university. There is a BOC waiver, which is a statewide for California, at least as far as I know, you can apply for, and they will pay for your tuition. You don't have to pay a dime. And I will give you money every month to go to school. So every semester or quarter to go to school. So there is free money on the table. I would love to do another youth chat, just talk about FAFSA now and BOC waiver, because I was grinding the system like it was no tomorrow. By the time that I graduated from my physician assistant program, I have saved $130,000, and that's how I bought this house. And I think more than half of that was scholarship. The rest was just working away, just like Joe and Russell. Work hard is important, but work smarter is even better. Work smarter, not harder. You can work all day at McDonald's making $15 an hour. Hopefully, that's a minimum wage now. Or you can apply for scholarship on your spare time, between work and school, and make thousands of dollars. I literally had a scholarship that gave me $30,000 in one sitting. Doesn't mean everybody's gonna get it? No. But if you don't ask, the answer is always no. So go out there, collect your free money. You deserve it.
Yeah. Thank you, Patrick, for that too.